Yeah, I wanted to talk about the affairs. I wanted to talk about the manipulation, the lies, the money, the power, the respect or the lack of, the women, the lifestyle, just all of that was going on over there. But every time the show shifted back to the children, I was like, okay, wait, run that back, run that back. I found myself thinking, like, come on, let's get back to this man, Gamora, the Gamoras and them women's, right? Then when I finished the series, all 22 of them, I realized the children were never the side story. They were never the ones that were in the background. The children was the story. You know, Miss Kenya. Kenya love the kids. So today, I don't want to talk about who cheated. I don't want to talk about who won. I don't want to talk about none of that. I don't want to talk about if Gamora actually loved them and what he was doing. No. I want to talk about the inheritance that nobody talks about. So let's get into it. Get your notebook for your tips and get your cup for your sips. Mm-hmm. Because right now, we are going to get beneath the scenes of the Polygamist. Yes, and if you have not watched that, stop, pause, listen. This is not one that you just want to come and jump in and try to get on. All right, I already did my review, episode 1 through 5. Now we're about to get into 6 through 22. You heard me, 22. Because not every inheritance is money. Not every inheritance is property. Yes, the Gamora was the man, but not every inheritance is a family business. Sometimes the greatest inheritance parents can leave their child is the way they taught them how to love, communicate, cope, fight, hide, trust, and heal. And everything else that you can come up with, okay? And that's exactly what I watched happen. So y'all ready to get into it? Let's get into it. Now, hold on. One thing this series made me realize is how often we think children only inherit our last name, our eyes, our smile, them little dimples, or whatever else. But no. Children inherit so much more than genetics. They inherit environments, they inherit relationships, expectations, they inherit beliefs, they inherit conflict styles, silence, chaos, emotional habits. Whether we intend to pass those things down or not, nobody sat those children down and said, here's how to create unhealthy relationships, and here's not how to create unhealthy relationships. They just watched day after day. For how long was it? Oh my God. It started out for about a year, a little over a year, and then to for life. Okay? Again, if you haven't watched it, go ahead, pause, hold on. Get your notebook for your tips and your cup for your sips because right now we are reviewing The Polygamist. Again, if you hadn't heard, if you hadn't seen, if it hadn't been none of that, pause, go back and watch it because we are definitely getting into it right now. All right, so let's talk about the sun. Now, this one hurt. This one hurt. Whoo, the sun. Because from early in the scenes, I kept saying, I'm watching the sun. Like everybody else was focused on Joe, good morning, and Joyce and Mati. No. I kept looking at the sun. And then he started having panic attacks. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't regulate his emotions. He watched the violence, the betrayal. He watched adults pretend everything was normal. Then years later, what happened? He started making decisions that look very familiar than the older Gamora, than the old Joe, his father. His father. Not because he wanted to become his father, because trust me, nobody wanted to be like Joe. Nobody wanted him to be like his father, but because familiarity. Sorry, let me bring that back. Hold on. Get your sips. Familiarity is powerful, y'all. This is why I always say self awareness comes before self management. Now, if you don't recognize what you're carrying, you'll eventually call inherited behavior your personality. Mm-hmm. Now hold on. Let's not. We got some more to go to because now let's talk about the daughters. Yes, with the S on the end, the daughters. We don't really have much to say about the other son. The other son was younger, and that was actually, you know what? Let's go back to the other son real quick because he was the infant, he was the baby. They did not touch on that, but I'm going to touch on him because Joyce believes that he was the cause of Joe Gamora's affair and how all of this started because it happened right when she gave birth to that last baby boy. But we don't even touch on him. You know what? Now I think about it, I don't even know if we remember his name. But anyway, now let's talk about the daughters with the S on the end. Because one created distance, another searched for the identity, another one searched for experiences, another one searched for attention. None of them responded the same way. Now, that's another lesson, y'all. Listen, children raised in the same house don't always leave with the same wounds. Look, I have a younger brother, and sometimes I'll be like, what happened? What happened to you that I don't know about? I don't even know. I don't even know. I mean, it don't be that deep. We just had different experiences. Like, I just be like, where was I? Where was you? Not the same wounds because everybody processes the same environment differently. One becomes avoidant, one becomes anxious, one is an overachiever, one is a rebel, one leaves, one stays, one repeats the cycle, one breaks it. Okay? That's why comparing healing journey never works. Ever, ever, ever. All right, hold on. Now let's get into the adults. Now let's get into adults. What were they fighting for again, y'all? What was it? Okay, because this is where the show flipped for me. Joyce thought she was fighting for her marriage. Matiba thought she was fighting for love. Essie thought that she was protecting the family. Joe Gamora, okay, he thought he could keep everything together. Everybody thought they were fighting for their own outcome. Meanwhile, the children were playing the emotional ball. And guess what? What comes with that? They start paying an emotional bill. Nobody was asking, what are the children learning while they were fighting? What are the children thinking? What are the children? Everybody was so focused on winning. They missed what was being passed down. And it wasn't money. It wasn't money. Ha! The inheritance that was being passed down. Listen, hold on. Let me take a step. Get y'all notebook for y'all tips real quick. Because we're reviewing the Polygamist. We are beneath the scenes to the Polygamist. So can I ask you something? Like, I want to ask you. When people think about inheritance, what comes to mind? Seriously, money, a house, jewelry, land, businesses. Those things matter. Yeah, sure. But here's my question. What if the greatest inheritance is your emotional blueprint? None of that other stuff that we just named. What if your child grows up believing love means competition? Because that's all they saw. What if they believe conflicts means yelling? Because that's all they experience. And what if they believe secrets are normal? Because that's all they were functioning as. They were trying to function as everything was normal. Nobody has to teach those lessons with words, y'all. Sometimes they're taught through repetition. Okay? Now, listen, this is why I always talk about collateral damage. I always talk about collateral damage, y'all. People ask me all the time, how long should you fight for a relationship? How long, you don't want to leave too soon. You got to stick it out. We ain't even going to talk about the whole ride or die thing. We ain't going to talk about, no. But I don't have one answer for everybody. Every relationship is different. But I do believe this. Don't wait until years of unresolved issues the ones that create collateral damage that reaches the people to the point of no return. So don't wait until the years of those unresolved issues that created the collateral damage to create a problem. Yeah, because one of our biggest mistakes is we make believing people, hear me on this one, get your notebook for your tips. Believing that our choices only affect us, that the people around us will fall into place once we figure it out. We try to figure it out first and then believe that the people around us will fall in place. Yeah, this series right here proves that it don't. It don't. Children often carry consequences they never choose. Woo! Now hold on. Let's go back to the daughter because the eulogy. Go ahead, girl. The eulogy. One of the most powerful moments in the entire series came during the funeral. Now, again, if you don't know, if you did not watch this series, if you don't know what I'm talking about, stop, pause, hold on, go back, watch it. Okay? But when the oldest daughter says something that stayed with me, she reflected that the best parts of her father came from the women in his life. When she said that, I was like, come on now. She said the best parts of her father came from the women in his life. And she broke it down. Essie did this for him. Essie brought this out of him. Matiba brought this out of him. My mama brought this out of him. Woo, I said, because even in all the pain, y'all, she recognized the people who poured into her. It reminded me that influence doesn't always come from the loudest person. Sometimes the strongest legacy comes from the people who quietly kept showing up. Quietly. Oh, that's good. That yeah, 20. I didn't think I was gonna make it through 22 episodes. 22. Do I keep saying seasons? Do I keep saying episodes? I hope I keep saying episodes. But listen, here's my real question. Here's the real one. This is the one that I want all of us to think about. Forget the show for a minute. Forget the characters. Forget Gamora, Joyce, Matiba, Essie, Seda, all of that. Mimsy. Forget all of them. Ask yourself, what am I passing down that nobody has ever talked to me about? Get your notebook for your tips. And if you need to get your cup for your sips on that one, do that too. But what am I passing down that nobody has ever talked to me about? Not your money, not your furniture, not the last name. I'm talking your emotional habits, your communication, your conflict style, boundaries, self respect, your ability to apologize, your ability to forgive, to regulate your emotions. Because whether you realize it or not, someone is watching. Now, here's the keepsake, y'all. Here is today's keepsake from beneath the scenes on the Polygamist, honey child. Listen. Woo! The inheritance nobody talks about, y'all, is the life your children learn simply by watching the way you live. They're watching how you handle disappointment, how you handle conflict, how you treat people, how you respond when you're hurt, how you repair after mistakes, how you love, how you leave, how you come back long before our children repeat our words. Okay? Y'all always listen to me. He don't listen. She don't listen. They don't listen. But you know what they do? They see and they can watch and they can see all of that. They often repeat patterns. So if there's something you've inherited that no longer serves you, this right here is your keepsake reminder. You do not have to pass everything down just because it was passed down to you. Listen, some legacies deserve to continue. Others really deserve to end with us. Like, listen, some legacies deserve to continue and others deserve to end with us. So, y'all, that's today's keepsake. Oh my God, we went beneath the scenes on the Polygamist. I have more. This was the overall for it. Again, if you didn't see reviews for episode 1 through 5, Go back and see that and tell me what you think about it. This one, and then coming up, I have more to talk about. We're going to get into characters, everything else, and all that good stuff, okay? But right now, I want to know. I want to hear from you. What's one relationship pattern you think gets passed from generation to generation that people don't talk about enough? What you think? Type in the comment, type in the chat. Talk to your girl, I'll talk back. But until then, I'll see you on the next episode of Beneath the Scenes.